it's Lisa. I just got finished with my 2015 sketchbook, and I want to show you how you can use one of the two-page layouts for a one-pager. This year I have 9 two-page layouts out of the 40 sketches, but most of them you can take and turn them into a one-page sketch if you prefer one-pagers over two-pagers. So let's take a look at this particular sketch. This was originally designed for 6 photos, but I'm going to use it for 4 photos, and I'm just going to use the left-hand page. Now, the two-page sketches have a small thumbnail, and then they have a full-size version of the sketch. So I want to use just this particular page. And this one is a very easy one to convert because you have title, journaling, photos, everything that you need there. Because I'm not going to have this other page over here, I'm not going to leave my photo all the way at the very edge. I'm going to kind of scoot it in a little bit. And I'm actually going to add a 3rd photo down here at the bottom, but I'm still going to use the same general arrangement and maybe even that same size for the paper in the back, or maybe just a tiny bit larger, I'm not sure. But mostly I'm going to leave things arranged the way it is. I have a 4x6 photo of my stepdaughter and her little girl, and then I have some other photos here of Grandpa playing with the kids that all go together on this particular layout. For the papers, I'd like to use some simple stories. If I had to pick my 2 favorite paper lines, it would probably be Basic Gray. I know it would be Basic Gray. And Simple Stories. I don't tend to use Simple Stories, the ones with the journaling cards, that much, but I do love their papers, their companion papers that go with their collections. They're really good colors. I think they do a lot of navy blue and colors that are just kind of hard to find elsewhere. This is the So Rad collection, and there's also some summer vibes in here. So we're going to pull out a few papers that I think would look really good with these photos. I really love that stripe, and I'm looking for a background paper. With these, I also bought the packs that they had with just some of the tone-on-tone in just a few colors, both the So Rad and the Summer Vibes collection. And this is Summer Vibes coming up here with the wood grains. But unfortunately, there wasn't a good one there. There was one in red that I tried, but the papers that I'm going to end up using for this collection with the So Rad don't have any red in them. So I think that we're going to have to go back and try to find something else. There's a navy that I considered. I felt like the navy might be a little bit dark for this page, and then I found this one with all this wonderful color and the light background, and I really, really like it. It's busy, so I got to see how I can work with this busier print. So what I'm considering at this point is using the busier print there as that 8 by 10 roughly piece that goes behind the title, and maybe put the stripe down there for the photos. That's what I'm thinking at this point. And probably not using that navy, and then maybe using a cardstock background and cutting a strip of the paper with the stars to use for the border strip. My concern, though, is that with having the photo lay on that really busy paper and having to put a title on there, you're just not going to see it that well. So that's when I went to my jelly prints, and I started looking for something that was already in my drawer full of prints that I'd already made that would match the colors. And I've got this yellow, and that would work really well, I think, on the busier print with the photos laying on top of it. The orange is just not the right color. And then I had a couple that were multicolored, and they're really beautiful, but there's just things about them. That one was maybe a little too sophisticated. This one just didn't have the right colors in it. So I pretty quickly concluded that in order to make this work, what I'm going to have to do is just go do some more jelly printing. And I've been wanting to do that anyway. I have been working on this sketchbook, spending a lot of time with my computer, and I'm ready to get messy. So that's what I did next, was go and start doing some jelly printing. Now, I've fast-forwarded really fast through this jelly printing for 2 reasons. One, I've done a lot of it on other videos, and the process is very similar. I'm just showing you here all the different things that I'm going to be using. And the other reason you'll see in just a few moments. But I'm starting with some orange paint. These are just regular craft paints. And that yellow one wouldn't come out, and then gobs of it came out. But I got a little bit of an orange and yellow background there. That one thing I'm using for texture is the packaging from ice cream cones. You can use all kinds of things for your jelly prints for texture. If you're not into jelly printing, I have indicated on the screen how you can zip over all this jelly printing stuff and go on back to the rest of the layout. Now that cardboard piece is chipboard, what's left over from chipboard letters. And I ended up deciding to use that on the bottom as well. And this made a really cool print. And I really like it. It's busy. And I'm going to have to be putting a title on top of it, so it's probably not going to be the best thing, but I really liked it. It was the first one I made and it was my favorite in this whole process. And I skipped over, there's another one you're going to see later on that I didn't include that part of the process of making it in the video because this was just running so long. But I did want to show you one of the other ways I did a jelly print was to take my 3x5 jelly plate, there's where I got yellow paint everywhere, and just stamp different designs onto the paper. And this is a wonderful way to control the design, and you can get some really good looks here. And I think if I had stayed just with the yellow and oranges, I would have been really happy with this one, and it's probably the one I would have ended up using. And I'm spoiling the ending here, telling you I'm not going to use it. But I add some blue here in a little bit, and it still looks good. It gets too busy, and part of the point of this piece of paper is to not have something that's so terribly busy. But this is a fun way of doing jelly printing. It goes pretty fast, and you can just, because most of these you can make multiple passes with them. Now see there, if I'd stopped there, I'd have the orange, but I felt like, oh, it needs some blue. So, and here's the finished ones. And what I did was I looked at this one and I really liked it, but when I put it on there, I just felt like it was going to be too busy. These two I did not really care for that much at all. This is the one that I was just working with, and I added a little bit of blue, a little bit of stamping there in the blue, and it didn't show on camera. It looks good, but there again, it's a lot of pattern. So what I end up with on this is this piece here that I printed on deli paper. I did not film the deli paper part because I was doing the deli paper part for an art journal project just for the fun of it. I wasn't planning on using it on the page, and it's the one I ended up using. So that's why I went pretty fast through the jelly printings. I didn't end up showing you how I printed the one I ended up using. But I just used some bubble wrap for the background in blue, and then I went over it with a layer of orange using that chipboard letter one, and got a nice subtle design. And because it's deli paper, you can see some of the design through the back of the paper. I still though really like this first one with the letters on it, so I'm thinking about using it instead of the striped paper at the bottom. Cutting down a strip of it, and that's kind of what I'm playing with here. And back to the deli paper. Deli paper is dry wax paper. You buy it in a box, and you can order it from Amazon, or I think you can buy it at places like Sam's Club and stuff. So it's a wonderful medium to use with your jelly printing. All right, and then my title should rest on there without it being too disruptive. And I've got some title letters here. I'm starting to pick out some letters. I want it to say off we go. So the off we is going to come off from some of those packages of thickers, and go can be fairly large, so I thought I'd get into my box of cast off chipboard pieces and find some, and that GO is just not quite dark enough, so I'm going to take some Faber-Castell gelatos and color it. You could paint it. If you painted it, you'd probably want to go over it with some, well, you wouldn't necessarily have to. I started to say you want to go over it with some gesso first, but you wouldn't necessarily have to. This just happened to have some kind of glittery stuff on there, and I thought I'd try it with the gelatos, because when they dry, they're permanent. And I did have to do 2 layers of them, but it worked out really nicely. Now I want to go sew the deli paper on, and I did sew it on, but you'll see it crinkled a little bit on me. I put some adhesive down to hold it in the middle, but I didn't put enough. Now I've never sewn deli paper before. Now I know that it moves, and so if I were to sew it again, I would be putting a fair amount of adhesive to hold it in place, just not adhesive right around the edge where my sewing machine is going to be going. And this is working, except it's not wide enough, so I'm just splitting it so that I can use it and make it look like it goes across the whole piece there. Piece of that star paper, and we'll do the off we go. I've got my journaling typed up. This is where it's nice to have that sketch, because I had my computer upstairs when I wasn't quite ready for the journaling yet. I just measured how big the journaling block needed to be on the sketch. Sketches are 6 inches by 6 inches if you print them out, so you just take any of the measurements and double them, and I knew exactly how much I needed it to be. So I'm just finishing up the page here by adding in some wood veneer pieces, deciding whether I want 1 arrow. I decided I wanted 3 of those. I just had to hunt around and find one. And I'm just going to leave them as raw wood veneer. I did add a die cut up there. That was a pie chart shape that I cut twice off the silhouette, once in a metallic paper and then the other one in just a plain gray paper, and then put a brad in the middle. So after all the work, of course, with the jelly prints, I didn't end up having a lot of it show. That's often the case. You spend a lot of time either picking a paper or making a design, and then you cover a lot of it up. But you still get to see some of the pretty design here in the background behind the photo and the title. And then a little bit more down here, and I really love this print. I still have some of this left that I can use on another project, and we got our star paper in here, so we got to use a lot of papers. I only did the 1 embellishment. Now if you had fewer photos, you know, this was designed with 1 embellishment here because it's a 2-pager, so there were more embellishments over on the other side, but you could do another embellishment group down here if you had a small number of photos like shown on the sketch. But I had a lot of photos that I wanted to put down here, and still kept with this basic arrangement of the 4x6, the small photos at the bottom, the strip through the middle, this one larger piece of paper. And I want to show you the original that this was designed for, and you'll see what a dramatic difference there is between these layouts. Okay, here's the winter page that I did with the 2-page version of this sketch last May, and this is what it looked like. So very serene, very more formal and sophisticated kind of page, but that was the arrangement. And then now we've used the same sketch for a high energy, busy page where we have lots of great pictures with the kids, and it's just a completely different look, all starting with the same. So let me show you some close-ups of the page. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll check out the 2015 sketchbook. You'll find a link over on the blog post that goes with this layout, and it's a really good price this year with 40 sketches, lots of 4x6 photos that you can use, lots of 2-pagers, and several indexes that are very helpful to you. Thanks so much.